Good morning, members. Welcome to this special meeting of the Council. As members might be aware, there's currently no convener or deputy conveners. Accordingly, as proper officer, I will open the meeting and chair until I can hand over to a chair to be appointed by the Council for this first portion of the meeting, until a convener is appointed under item 3 of the agenda. As members will also be aware, Standing Order 5.1 states, at a meeting of the Council, the convener or, in his or her absence, the deputy conveners shall preside. If the convener and deputy conveners are both absent from a meeting, the proper officer shall call on the members of the Council to choose a member to preside. Accordingly, I can therefore ask elected members to choose a member to preside until a convener is appointed. Are there any nominations for the position of chair to preside until a convener is appointed? Councillor McGregor.
Thank you, Vlad. I would propose Councillor Hislop chairs the meeting at this stage.
I'll second that.
Okay. And Councillor Dorward.
Thank you, Vlad. I would propose Councillor Archie Driver chairs the meeting on a temporary basis.
Happy to second.
Sorry, can I just confirm who seconded that? Sorry.
Councillor Stitt.
Spitzer. Okay, so we've got a motion to appoint Councillor Hislop by Councillor McGregor and seconded by Councillor Carruthers. Is that correct? And then we've got an amendment which is to appoint Councillor Driver from put forward by Councillor Dorward and seconded by Councillor Stitt. Is that correct? Okay, if there are no other nominations, I think we'll proceed to the vote. And
I'm very happy to withdraw our motion if Councillor Driver wants to chair it, in the spirit of not having to go to a vote unless we absolutely have to.
okay, so the first motion's been withdrawn, so Councillor Driver, unless there's any opposition to that. Councillor Driver, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to send you the convener's notes because we've got them printed here. So what I suggest is, if it's okay with members, just to take a 5-minute recess to allow us to do that, and Councillor Driver can see that, and then we'll reconvene in 5 minutes. Thank you, members. I'll now pass to the Chair, Councillor Dryburgh, to take us through the next items.
Thank you, members. We will now proceed with the meeting as per the agenda. This meeting is being live streamed and recorded, and the recording will be made available on the Council website for public listening. Remote participants, could you please follow the good practice guidance, which includes muting microphones and switching off your video when you're not addressing the meeting. Write and speak in the Teams chat function when you want to contribute. If you're in the hall, you can do this on your iPhone or iPad. Please don't repeat contributions already made by other members. No material should be posted in the chat function if it is intended as part of the discussion. The usual standing orders apply, including that any votes will be undertaken by roll call. If any member has to leave the meeting, please either leave the Teams meeting for that period of time or write leave in the Teams chat function and then join when you rejoin the meeting so we can keep track on whether the meeting is quorate. Please focus contributions on areas where clarification is required or to propose an alternative to a recommendation. And we have scheduled a break for lunch around 12 noon, which will be assessed as we proceed through the agenda. We will also take breaks and recess as appropriate throughout the meeting to allow interpreters to take a break and allow members to consider proposals that have been put forward by motions. I have to say at the moment, members, that I have tested positive for COVID yesterday. That is why I'm not in the hall. I did feel really badly yesterday, but I'm a lot better today and glad to be taking this particular part in the full meeting. So on to item 1 then. Vlad, can you provide a and any apologies, please, for the Council?
Thank you, Chair. I can confirm we have received one apology. That's Councillor Little. We have 30 members present at the hall, and we have 11 members present on the Teams platform. Members not present at the start of the meeting is Councillor Drysdale, but she has indicated she will join later.
And I agree to members' remote participation. Item 2 is any declarations of interest. Okay. I can't see any, Vlad. I don't know if there's any hands up in the room.
No declarations, Chair.
Okay, members, we will go to item 3. And I see that Ian Carruthers wishes to speak on this item before I introduce it, or are you going to wait, Ian?
Thank you, Chair. Looking to make a proposal. If you look to introduce it first, happy to come in once you've introduced it, but look to make a proposal, Chair. Thank you.
Okay, thanks very much, Ian. I'll introduce it first and then we'll go through there. Okay. So the Local Government Act, Scotland Act 1994, states that each local authority shall elect a convener among the councillors and may elect a deputy convener. This council on the 3rd of February 2023 adopted the position whereby the convener was leader and 2 deputy conveners were appointed, one being civic head and the other deputy leader. As per the report, the council is being asked to appoint to these vacant roles. If required in accordance with standing orders, appointments to these positions will be undertaken by a vote by roll call. Should any changes be proposed to the designation of these roles, Standing Order 15.4 will apply, and this would need to be dealt with first as a procedural motion before any consideration by council of the proposed changes. And may I ask, are there any changes to be proposed to the existing designation which should be considered under the terms of Standing Order 15.4?
Chair, I can come in now if that's okay.
Yeah, please do.
Thank you. So, to alter a decision of the Council taken within the last 6 months, as you have just explained, and therefore I move that is to be considered due to a material change of circumstances in accordance with Standing Order 15.4.
Thanks, Ian. Are there any amendments to that?
No amendments or objections, Chair.
Okay.
Chair, I've got a second proposal, if that's okay.
Okay, Ian.
Sorry, if I could just jump in, if that's okay. It's just to confirm that the Council has agreed that there's been a material change in circumstances which requires reconsideration before we move on to the consideration part, if that's okay.
Thank you. Thanks for that clarity. Thank you, Chair. So just as the second part of what I'd like to move today is to agree to the role of convener designated as civic head, deputy leader, and further to agree of the role of deputy convener designated as leader.
Okay, are there any amendments to that?
And our third proposal, Chair, is to appoint the role of convener designated as civic head deputy leader to Councillor Malcolm Johnston. I would move that accordingly.
Okay, any amendments to that?
I would like to second that.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Johnston. Any amendments to that?
Sorry, Councillor Dryber. Councillor Stitts raised his hand.
I would like to propose Councillor Dryber, please. As leader.
Is that seconded?
I'll second that.
Can I just confirm with members if that's okay? The first appointment is regarding the convener role, and I just would like some clarity from the Labour group in terms of the proposal is for a leader. Is the intention that the leader will also be the convener of the council as per the...
Sorry, lad, yes, aye.
Okay, so it's for the convener to be also the leader and designed as that.
My understanding is we agreed at point 2 that the convener designated as civic head, deputy leader. So the convener would take the chair. We've already agreed that. Now we're being told, and there would be a leader, now we've been told we're changing that decision 2 minutes after. What's the material change? Or are we going under 15.4, I think it was, standing orders, that we've already taken that decision? The decision was the convener is deputy leader and the leader would be deputy convener. We've already made that decision.
Chair, if I can come in.
Yeah.
I think just in terms of the process, the way it's panned out is that certainly the Conservative group have put forward a motion to agree to the role of convener designated civic head and further to agree the role of deputy convener designated as leader. I believe that's been put forward. There were no amendments to that, and I think that's correct from Councillor Hislop. Thereafter, the Conservative group moved to appoint to the role of convener, and that's where Labour group in particular, Councillor Dorward, Councillor Stitt have come in with a different proposal, and therefore a decision has just been taken, I would agree with Councillor Hislop, on the designation of the role that was not opposed at that point in time, and therefore we moved to the second part of it, is whether the mover and seconder is in essence appointing to the roles that have been agreed.
Okay. So just for clarity, then, obviously the roles have been agreed. It's now the decision on who would be in that particular role that we're looking at.
That's correct, Chair.
in which case the Tory group have put their suggestion forward and the Labour group have put their suggestion forward. So therefore, does that become a motion and amendment?
It's a motion and amendment to the appointment to the roles that have just been agreed. Yeah.
Okay. So is there any other alternative?
Councillor Hislop.
Clarification again. My understanding with appointments, we have agreed to appoint to the role of convener. We have moved to appoint to the role of convener Councillor Johnson. Therefore, if there is no counter to that or amendment, Councillor Johnson should then take the chair. We would then move on to the next position, because you can't have an motion amendment that doesn't go against the vote that you're coming to. So are Labour saying that they are moving to convener role for Councillor Driver, or
sure.
are we agreeing that Councillor Johnson is there and then we will move on to the next one?
If I can come in and clarify the point, I'm happy to move as Councillor has suggested that Councillor Archer, be appointed as leader of the council and that Councillor Caroline Wilson be appointed as deputy leader. This proposal would make appointments in line with the well-established rules that have been in use over the last decade, where I will be the council leader and will convene full council. I'll be deputy leader and fulfil civic head role. The proposal that we are suggesting will also see a small saving for the council as a deputy leader. And the agenda, as this is agenda item 3, the suggestion is 2.1, agree to appoint Councillor Archie Driver as leader of the council and Councillor Caroline Wilson as deputy leader of the council. 2.2, agree that a material change in circumstances has occurred according with standing orders 515.4, which has already been agreed by full council today. At 2.3, agree that the standing orders of the councils are amended to reflect the role of leader and deputy leader, noting that the leader will be designated as the convener and the deputy leader will be designated as civic head. And at 2.4, agree that the salary received by deputy leader will be the value of 65% of the salary of the leader. Now, this is not a situation that the Labour group wanted to find themselves in. Up until last week, the Labour group had an understanding with the SNP and independent groups to work together in the interest of people across Dumfries and Galloway. It wasn't easy, but by working together and reaching agreement on a number of issues, we were collectively able to provide the leadership our council needed, given the results of the council election last year. The understanding, the memorandum of understanding between the three groups did not require any political group to agree on all occasions and did not require any group to vote for the administration budget. The Labour group tried hard to reach agreement and, unlike other groups, did not walk away from the negotiation table to find a budget proposal that would be in the best interest of the people across Dumfries and Galloway. Despite this not being what we wanted to see happen and not exactly being in the strongest position to secure majority support today, the Labour group will not walk away, and today we do offer an alternative and provide leadership for the council and the region. As leader and deputy leader, Councillor Wilson and I will work with all parties and councillors to ensure the council delivers for our communities. One of our first steps will be to work with all group leaders to review the leaders panel, budget development group and business panel, to learn from the last few months and to ensure they are best placed to focus on implementation of the recently agreed council plan and to support inclusive decision making on future budget decisions. Labour administration will continue to focus on the two agreed priorities of the cost of living crisis and road repairs, and the council recently agreed significant investment to road repairs and maintenance in line with previous comments. I, as council leader, would ensure that council considers the impact of the cost of living crisis and the action the council can take now. So
Sorry, Chair, can I maybe just jump in? I think it'd be helpful for members if we maybe take a recess and we circulate the motions that have been proposed. However, we do have that technical issue of as Chair, you clearly asked the Council whether there were any amendments to the change in designation. There was clearly no response to that, and therefore the the assumption is that that has been accepted by council, and the second motion's then been taken, which is to appoint to the newly designated roles. So if we could take a recess, I would suggest of 15 minutes to allow the various motions to be circulated, and then for governance officers to discuss the points that I've just raised. Councillor McGregor's just raised her hand as well, Chair.
Okay, Councillor McGregor.
Thanks very much, Chair. Is the Labour amendment competent if we're seeking now to fill the positions under the delegations that we've just agreed? Are their proposals competent before we even look at the amendment? If it's not competent, I need the governance officer to rule it incompetent.
Yeah,
I'd ask the governance officer to answer that.
Yeah, we'll consider that within the recess if that's okay, and then we can come back at the start of the meeting. So if I can ask Councillor Wilson to show that amendment, thanks. And then we'll have a recess for 15 minutes. Yeah, I think we'll have the recess of 15 minutes starting now, if that's okay, Chair.
Yes.
And I'm just looking around the room, I think that's probably best, and we'll circulate that amendment. If it'd be
Yeah, thank
okay for me to maybe come in just to clarify the position for all members. As I alluded to before the small recess, a decision has been taken by this council today in terms of the designations. Those designations are for the convener to be the civic head and deputy leader, and then the second part of that is the deputy leader to be the deputy convener, sorry, to be the leader of the council. So we've got those two roles as convener and deputy convener with the relevant designations, and therefore I think what we are now moving to is the appointment into these particular roles as they currently stand, and I believe that that's now understood by all elected members.
Thanks, lad. Obviously,
Sorry, Councillor
I'm not aware.
Thompson also wishes to come in, Chair, just after that.
It's just a point of order. Thanks, convener. It was, I think it's 4.2.1 or 4.2.2, but this seems awfully complicated, and I'm not sure how we look to the outside world going through this process. But is it not the case that we should be appointing a convener first, then sort out the rest? This composite motion seems to be awfully complicated when it could be straightforward. Thank you. And could you address the point of order, please?
Okay, Vlad, I mean, obviously, I'm not, again, I say, I'm not as well as what I thought I was going to be, so I'm going to hand over to Councillor Stitt. But Vlad, can you clear that point of order, please?
Yeah, so from Councillor Thompson, it's quite right. So this is purely for the appointment of the convener. That's the next stage, and that's hopefully simplified it for all members what the next stage is. Is that in accordance with Councillor Thompson's query?
So it was just to clarify, so first we're only appointing the convener and then getting to the rest, is that right? It's just the motion seemed to combine things at this stage. Thank you.
Yeah, so what we've got on the chat for those that are not present here is the Labour Group's proposal. Within that, I would suggest that the only item that we're currently considering is 2.1 within that, even though it's specifically focused on the convener role. So we're only part of that 2.1.
Okay.
Does that provide the clarity for Councillor Thompson?
Okay, so there is a motion and an amendment. I mean, obviously, I've asked Councillor Stitt and Councillor Dorwood to take over from that particular part in the amendment. So happy to take that forward.
Is Councillor Stitt to speak, Chair?
Vlad, to appoint to the role, Councillor Wilson to the role of convener designated civic head / deputy leader.
I second that.
Okay, thank
So
you.
in which case there is a motion and an amendment?
That's correct. Can I just confirm the first motion, which is to appoint Councillor Malcolm Johnson to the position of convener, civic head, deputy leader. That was proposed by Councillor Carruthers, and Councillor Maureen Johnson seconded it. And then we've got an amendment which was proposed by Councillor Stitt, which is to propose Councillor Wilson. Is that correct?
That's correct, Vlad.
Yeah. Councillor Wilson as convener, and that was seconded by Councillor Dorward. Okay, so we've got a motion and an amendment, and therefore we'll proceed with my colleague to the vote. If you just bear with us, we'll put it on the screen as usual. just go through the roll call as usual, and if you could say whether you're with the motion or the amendment or you abstain. Okay, Councillor Bell.
Motion.
Councillor Beretti.
Abstain.
Councillor Blake.
Motion.
Councillor Brodie. Sorry, Councillor Brodie.
Motion.
Councillor Doogie Campbell.
Abstain.
Councillor John Campbell.
Abstain.
Councillor Ian Carruthers.
Motion.
Councillor Karen Carruthers.
Motion.
Councillor Dashpart.
Abstain.
Councillor Davis.
Motion.
Councillor Dempster.
Motion.
Councillor Denerley.
Motion.
Councillor Dorward.
Amendment, please.
Councillor Dryborough.
Amendment, please.
Councillor Drysdale. Oh, it's still not at the meeting. Okay, that's Councillor Ferguson.
Abstain.
Councillor Giusti.
Motion.
Councillor Hagman.
Abstain, please.
Councillor Howe.
Motion, please.
Councillor Howie.
Abstain.
Councillor Hislop.
Motion.
Councillor Ingalls.
Motion, please.
Councillor Jameson.
Abstain.
Councillor Malcolm Johnson.
Motion.
Councillor Maureen Johnson.
Motion.
Councillor Jordan.
Amendment, please.
Councillor Little's not present. Councillor Lowe.
Abstain.
Councillor McGregor.
Motion, please.
Councillor McCammon.
Motion.
Councillor McFarlane.
Abstain.
Councillor Mayo.
Motion.
Councillor Marsh.
Motion.
Councillor Marshall.
Amendment, please.
Councillor Scobie. Councillor Slater.
Motion.
Councillor Stevenson.
Amendment, please.
Councillor Stitt.
Amendment.
Councillor Thompson.
Abstain.
Councillor Walters.
Amendment, please.
Councillor Wilson.
Amendment, please.
Councillor Wood.
Motion, please.
Councillor Young.
Abstain.
Okay, thank you, members. Members will see 20 votes for the motion, 8 for the amendment, 13 for abstentions, and therefore the motion is carried, Chair.
So I take it now, glad that I hand over to Malcolm.
Yes, that's correct. Chair, I'll now be handed
Thanks,
over.
member. Sorry for that confusion earlier on, as I say. I'll hand over to Malcolm.
Thank you, members, and thank you to Archie for chairing that first part of the meeting. We're now at the point where we have to appoint the role of deputy convener designated as leader. Do we have any motions or suggestions?
Thank you, Convener. I would like to propose Councillor Gail McGregor. Thank you.
I would like to second that. Thank you.
So Councillor Stitt like to come in?
Chair, I'd like to propose Councillor Driver to the role of Deputy Convener as designated to leader. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to second that.
Thank you. So I have the motion put forward by Councillor Crothers and seconded by Councillor Maureen Johnston. Amendment put forward by Councillor Stitt, seconded by Councillor Dorward. Do you want to read out the terms of it, Vlad?
Yes, thank you, Convener. Yes, so we've got, as you've relayed, a motion which is to appoint to the role of Deputy Convener designated as leader to Councillor McGregor, and that was proposed by Councillor Carruthers and seconded by Councillor Maureen Johnston. We've got an amendment which is proposing Councillor Driver to that role. That has been proposed by Councillor Stitt and seconded by Councillor Dorward. So that's the amendment. And if members are ready, we'll go to the roll call and we'll just put it on screen as usual. Okay, Councillor Bell.
Motion.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, Convener. Apologies. The officers are quicker than I am. So, yeah, Convener first.
I'll have to get used to going first. Motion.
Councillor Bell.
Do I get 2 votes? Motion.
Councillor Beretti.
Abstain.
Councillor Blake.
Motion.
Councillor Brodie.
Motion.
Yep, it's not showing on the screen. You can see it now. Yep. Oh, there we go. Yep. Okay, Councillor Dougie Campbell.
Abstain.
Councillor John Campbell.
Abstain.
Councillor Ian Carruthers.
Motion.
Councillor Karen Carruthers.
Motion.
Councillor Dashpart.
Abstain.
Councillor Davis.
Motion.
Councillor Dempster.
Motion.
Councillor Denearly.
Motion.
Councillor Dorward.
Amendment, please.
Councillor Driver.
Amendment.
Can I just check whether Councillor Drysdale's in the meeting? No, not yet. Okay. Councillor Ferguson.
Abstain.
Councillor Giusti.
Motion, please.
Councillor Hagman.
Abstain.
Councillor Hill.
Motion, please.
Councillor Howie.
Abstain.
Councillor Hislop.
Motion.
Councillor Ingalls.
Motion.
Councillor Jameson.
Abstain.
Okay, we'll just move the screen if that's okay. Okay. Councillor Maureen Johnson.
Motion.
Councillor Jordan.
Amendment, please.
Councillor Little. Just apologies. Councillor Lowe.
Abstain.
Councillor McGregor.
Motion, please.
Councillor McCammon.
Motion.
Councillor McFarlane.
Abstain.
Councillor Mayo.
Motion.
Councillor Marsh.
Motion.
Councillor Marshall.
Amendment, please.
Councillor Scobie. Councillor Slater.
Motion.
Councillor Stevenson.
Amendment, please.
Councillor Stitt.
Amendment, please.
Councillor Thompson.
Abstain.
Councillor Walters.
Amendment, please.
Councillor Wilson.
Amendment.
Councillor Wood.
Motion, please.
Councillor Young.
Abstain.
Okay, as members should see from the screen, we have 20 votes for the motion, 8 for the amendment and 13 abstentions. The motion is therefore carried.
Thank you, members. Could we now move on to the next part, and that is move that all appropriate administrative changes be made to standing orders, the schemes of administration and delegation, the member and officer protocol, including the media protocol, etc., to reflect this change from the previously agreed model. Can we agree that? Members, therefore, 1, agree to appoint a convener, leader, deputy convener. No, it's not that at all.
I'll come in if that's okay, convener. So members will have a report that clearly states what the original position is, but you have appointed, so just to clarify, so in terms of 2.1 of the report, you've appointed a convener and deputy convener, so that's been done. Thereafter, you've got 2.2, which is that's been dealt with, and thereafter is 2.3, which I think is addressed with the last comment that you made in terms of the administrative element of revising standing order, scheme of delegations, etc.
So that's agreed. We'll now move on to item 4, which is the committee size, proportionality and appointment to chairs, vice chairs and senior councillor positions. We have the report by the Director of Communities. This report provides members, invites members to confirm proportionality methodology. Following council on 28th February, there have been a number of resignations from chairs and vice chairs, and this report seeks to appoint chairs and vice chairs and agree which will be senior councillor positions. Vlad is available to assist members with any questions on this report. Blank slates detailing roles and appointments were circulated to group leaders prior to today's meeting. I now ask all groups to provide their slates to our governance colleagues to check and circulate while we take a short recess for 20 minutes. Is that acceptable? Councillor Thompson.
Yeah, no, thanks, convener. It was just a quick question. Well, 2 points actually. It's 3.8. Where it talks about the Appendix 2 and the various remunerations. This is a matter of public record, and I think it's published online anyway in terms of the last few years. But I think there's maybe a bit of an anomaly there. I've raised this already just to be looked at, but I'm just wondering if that could be checked in terms of the numbers matching up to the total, and if there's an unexplained amount, if that could be clarified just for transparency. But happy for that to be followed up offline, but I just thought I'd raise it today. And the second point is, I'm looking at the proportionality tables on page 15. I'm just conscious of the vote we've just had, and I noticed that there's 2 independent groups there, a group of 5 and a group of 2. Is that still up to date after the vote we've just had? Thank you.
Vlad, can you provide clarity on that?
Yeah, thank you, Convener. In terms of the first question, yes, I'm happy to follow that up, and I can confirm I will come back to the member on that point. In terms of the second part, as far as I'm aware, the position is tabled at the moment, unless anyone tells me otherwise. And so far, I haven't had any other change from the proportionality that's been tabled there in that particular appendix.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Scobie.
Yeah, the intention is that that will change.
Vlad, want to come back?
Yep. So if there's going to be a change, either you propose it just now, or in essence we need to deal with it in due course, as we have done recently. So that's obviously we need to work out as officers what the proportionality is going to be. We do have a table for that, which is in that appendix. But if there is any change to it, you can either put it forward and then we can work on that. But we probably need a slightly bigger recess than kind of 20 minutes that's been proposed to, in order to work that out, and then obviously circulate that new appendix as such to members, if that were to be the case.
It is the intention, Chair. We're quite happy to deal with this at a future meeting, just to let the meeting flow.
Thank you, Councillor Scobie. So we will now take a short recess, 20 minutes or so. So what time is it now, Vlad? Oh, Councillor Campbell, come in.
Yeah, thanks very much. Are we getting sight of the Conservative slate?
Yes, they will be circulated.
Or any other slates that come forward?
Yes.
Thank you.
So we'll go to the recess. Thank you, members, and welcome back. Can I bring in Councillor Campbell, a point of order?
Yeah, thank you, Convener. Just in terms of what Willie Scobie had to say at the previous item, just for the avoidance of doubt, I've resigned from the independent group, and I believe Councillors Scobie and Howie are seeking to do otherwise, and we'll be forming a new independent group. We don't have a name as yet, but I'm sure we'll find one. And we won't be politically aligned with any party. So just make that clear, and obviously we'll follow that up with Vlad in terms of the official processes. Thanks, Convener.
Thank you for that, Councillor Campbell. Councillor Ferguson.
Thanks very much for letting me in, Convener, and congratulations. I'm not sure if you're pleased to be there or you're just having to be there. A couple of questions. In the Conservative slate, you've got independent for 2 positions. Is it ND 1, ND 2 or ND 3, or are you refusing a second or third independence referendum? Which one is it? Maybe we could have some names against that. Then we know for definite who the 2 members are.
I think I'll pass over to Councillor McGregor for that.
The slates haven't been formally moved yet, and it will be for the independent group 1, which is why there's no 2 next to it, to nominate their 2 people to sit in those positions if they choose to accept them.
Yeah, but we've just heard...
Councillor Ferguson.
Sorry to come back in. We've just heard there's a change to ND2, or the whatever it is we're calling it. So can we have 2 names, please?
You want them both?
Again, I'll repeat, we haven't moved the slates yet, but the independent group, as is, was the group of 4. The independent group 2 is a separate group. If it was 2, it would have had 2 next to it. 5, sorry, 5, my apologies.
Councillor Scobie.
Yeah, Chair, at the expense of sounding arrogant, I am not seeking any nomination from any political group, and as Councillor Campbell has intimated, we have resigned from the independent group. We will come forward with a name, aligning ourselves to no political party. So therefore, I seek no, I've resigned from posts previously held and seek no further nomination. I think that's the same for all the members.
Thank you, Councillor Scobie. Councillor Stevenson.
Thank you, Convener, and again, congratulations. You know that there is now, as Councillor Ferguson's pointed out, 3 independent groups. So is it the independent group that contains councillors Slater and Mail, or is it the independent group that was 5 but is now apparently 2? I mean, what is it to be? It's, you know, yeah, thank you.
Councillor Brodie.
Yeah, I think if it's independent group 1, there's only 2 members left in that. I think you can work out yourself there. The planning would be Jim Dempster, and the education and learning would be me.
Councillor Hislop.
Chair, could I ask Mr Valiente if he actually has another grouping? If not, there are the current groupings, which are the Conservatives, the SNP, the Labour, ND1 and ND2. The others are all singular. My understanding, they don't then currently have a position on any committee, because you have to have a group of 2 to be a grouping. And therefore, how does that affect the proportionality? And therefore, they would have no committees, because they're all independent just now. They are not a grouping.
Vlad, do you want to come in on that?
Yes, thank you, Convener. We haven't formally received the paperwork in terms of forming of the various groups that have been discussed, and therefore at the moment what you've got in the appendix is what the position is as it stands. However, taking on board what members have said is that they quite clearly have resigned from the various groups. If members are content enough, what we would need to do is to take a recess in order to assess that get the new groups formalised, and that would then allow us to do the table in the appendix. But that will be a delay because we would need to carry that out so that we can work out the proportionality thereafter, being more accurate in terms of what members have presented at the meeting just now.
So are members content to go with the groupings as were, or would we like a recess? Councillor Campbell?
Yeah, thanks, convener. Apologies, I should have congratulated you when I spoke earlier. I'm sorry if this is creating further complications, but right up to 10:15 this morning, the independent group, which was 5 members, were in discussions about the implications of members of that group taking up positions. So just to clarify, the new independent group will be myself, Councillor Howie and Councillor Scobie, and I think we're content to register ourselves as a group following the conclusion of this meeting, but I'm happy to go with whatever decision is made in terms of this particular point.
Thank you, Councillor Campbell. So, are we content to go with the groupings as well? Councillor Ferguson?
I get some governance advice on this, please. We've got members who've, in the chamber, have said they have resigned from that group. So therefore, that group is 2. Right? So the normal practice would be for the 3 to be non-aligned at this stage and would become automatically a group of 3. And that will definitely affect the proportionality.
Vlad, do you want to come in?
Yeah, I think thinking it through as members are discussing it, I think my clear advice is that we should recess to allow us to take on board what the accurate picture is. Obviously, I was not aware of that accurate picture until a few minutes ago, so that will allow us to then amend the appendix and therefore members can see what the actual proportionality is that you're agreeing to. I think that's probably best in terms of governance.
Just for clarity, Vlad, how long will it take for you to carry that out?
Thank you, convener, and that's a good question. I guess I'm considering whether lunch is available, and if it is available, then I think we should maybe take a full lunch break to allow officers to carry that workings out.
Thanks for that, Vlad. That very much rings with what I was about to suggest. So if we could take a recess, pause for lunch. And I'm told his hand was taken back down. Vlad.
Chair, I've still got my hand up.
Someone's got it.
I'm sorry, we can't actually. Councillor Marshall, come in.
Yeah, thanks, Chair, and congratulations. Just while we're actually, if we're going to take a recess to look at the now 3 independent groups, I think it'd be worth confirming as well whether all the other groups are still groups as well, because it wasn't that long ago that the Conservatives were split into 2 groups, so maybe confirmation that the Conservatives are still one group.
Thank you, Councillor Marshall. I think I'll pass over to Councillor McGregor for that.
I think that was more of a statement than a question.
No, it was a question.
We're a very solid group. All colleagues are together.
Yeah, we'll take a recess for 45 minutes if that's okay. Right. Thank you, members. And thanks to the staff for recalculating the proportionality. And I understand it was a bit of a fluid situation over the break as well. So we all have sight of the new proportionality. So going to the recommendations, can we agree the methodology to be applied to committee membership as detailed as paragraph 3.4, 3.7 being on the basis of proportionality, and we have the new proportionality set out there? Are we happy to agree that, members? Thank you. We'll now move on to the appointment of chairs and vice chairs of various committees and subcommittees. Slates have been set out, and I'll open this up to members. Councillor McGregor, or should I say Deputy Convener?
Thanks, Convener. We'll get used to it eventually. Yes, I just to keep the meeting running smoothly, I would propose on behalf of the Conservative group that the Conservative group slate be moved. There is a slight amendment to it, and it was my mistake. It was a typo on employment and appeals. The chair was noted as Labour. I think I'd left it blank on a previous iteration. It was meant to say Labour. And with that, I would also move a second part, that standing orders be amended to accommodate that the Council agrees to delegate the appointment of the 4 area committee chairs to their first meeting of area committees, and the Council further agrees to delegate the appointment of the 4 area committee vice chairs to area committees. So move.
Councillor Thompson.
Yeah, thanks, Convener. It was just, I appreciate you'd be waiting for a seconder for that, but it was just to put forward ours as an amendment, which was quite simply to confirm our role as the opposition to the administration. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Thompson. Councillor Hagman.
Thank you, Convener. It's just to second that. Thank you.
Councillor Crothers.
Happy to second Councillor Leader, Deputy Convener's motion.
Councillor Dorward.
Thank you, Convener, and congratulations formally from the Labour Group. In regards to the Labour Group slate, which we're proposing today, so here we are with the SNP attempting to take the principled opposition role or the opt-out option, depending on your perspective, when they could have stayed in administration, but they flounced off. They didn't just leave the room, they left the building, and like petulant children lobbed insults via the media at the Labour Group. Personal insults, because they had nothing left politically to offer. And what did the independents do? Well, they splintered at the first hurdle. And now they're flip-flopping about at the door of political opportunity without a shred of integrity or credibility amongst them. Think about it, people of Dumfries and Galloway, when you next vote in local elections. Vote Indy 1, get a Tory administration. Vote Indy 2, get a Tory administration. Vote SNP, get a Tory administration. The only party with the guts, integrity and principles to take a stand against a Tory administration are the Dumfries and Galloway Labour Group. Putting the people of Dumfries and Galloway first, I propose the Labour slate to the Council. Thank you.
Do you have a seconder, Councillor Dorward? Councillor Wilson.
Happy second.
Thank you. Councillor Walter.
Sorry, I just wanted to ask Gail whether it should be possible to remove the Labour suggestions from her slate, because we don't want to be on the employment and appeals and the pensions. We don't want to be suggested by it.
Councillor McGregor.
The slate is as presented. I thought the recess was to have discussions around that, and I haven't been asked to remove those out with the room. I would take governance advice as to changing slates at this stage.
Vlad.
Thank you, Convener. I think ultimately the slates are as they are being proposed, and it'll be up to the the various political groups that you may have indicated whether they wish to take up that. That might not be the case, so they might not wish to take it up. So that's the procedural point is simply that it's been indicated that the Labour group would not want to take up those positions. If that's correct, then that means that ultimately we as a council will ultimately need to appoint thereafter, but we will only establish that in due course.
Thank you, Black. Is that clear, Councillor Walters?
Yeah, as long as it's clear that we didn't agree to those positions being suggested.
So the 3 slates have been presented. We're ready to move to a vote, lad?
Councillor Marshall.
Councillor Marshall, come in.
Yeah, thank you. It's just in relation to the second part of the Conservative motion, just in relation to area committees. Can you just clarify what the intention is with that? Is it the area committees agree those, but it is still ratified through full council? Because it has always been a full council appointment. So I just wanted clarity on that proposal.
Deputy Convener.
Very happy to give. It's to agree to amend standing orders to accommodate those changes. And I really feel that the area committees are very non-political, apolitical. They deal with local business, and it should be for the local members to determine, rather than the composite of this chamber, who chairs and vice chairs those meetings, and do it on a local basis for the good of your local communities.
Thank you, Councillor McGregor. Does that answer your question, Councillor Marshall?
Partly, yeah.
Thank you. Councillor Hagman.
Thank you, Convener. I appreciate what the leader has just said about the Conservative slate that's been put forward, and then should the Labour group choose not to take up the positions, which has been intimated here. I just wanted to check, is that all the positions, including the Armed Forces champion that's mentioned in here, or is it just picking some of them? Just wanted to clarify.
Thank you, Councillor Hagman. Who's going to come in on that, Councillor Walters?
I'm happy to come in on that. I think the discussion we had was the two chairs of the subcommittees. And that's what we'd said.
So that's the 2 positions you're discussing. But at the moment, as Vlad has alluded to, the slates stand the way they are. And that's basically what we're going to be taking forward. And then if positions are not accepted or not taken up, then we deal with that at that particular time. Is there any further questions? Or debate? Anything else? No. Looks like we're ready to go to the vote. Vlad, do you want to?
Thank you, Convener. I'll just go through this as we've got 3. We've got a motion, an amendment and a counter amendment. The motion is from Councillor McGregor, as stated and circulated, including that slight amendment that she mentioned, and the area committee's part of the motion. That was seconded by Councillor Carruthers. The amendment, which is from Councillor Thompson, and seconded by Councillor Hagman, in regards to the opposition to the administration, as I understand, and the slate that's been circulated. And thereafter, the counter amendment is proposed by Councillor Dorward and seconded by Councillor Wilson as per their particular slate. So, as usual, we'll do the counter amendment and the amendment first, and thereafter we'll move on to the winner of that with the motion. Is everyone happy and content with that? We'll just move on to the vote, if that's okay. So the first vote will be between the amendment and counter amendment.
Just checking, Vlad. The counter.
Sorry, the counter amendment is Councillor Dorwood, seconded by Councillor Wilson, as I understand. Is that correct? Yep. And the amendment is proposed by Councillor Thompson and seconded by Councillor Hagman, as per the relevant slates that have been circulated to all members. Are we clear on that? As members will see, just on the screen, we'll go through as usual, just the roll call. Okay, convener.
Abstain.
Deputy convener.
Abstain.
Councillor Bell.
Abstain.
Councillor Beretti.
Amendment.
Councillor Blake.
Abstain.
Councillor Brodie.
Amendment.
Councillor Dougie Campbell.
Abstain.
Councillor John Campbell.
Amendment.
Councillor Ian Carruthers.
Abstain.
Councillor Karen Carruthers.
Abstain.
Councillor Dashbart.
Amendment.
Councillor Davis.
Abstain.
Councillor Dempster.
Abstain.
Councillor Denearly.
Abstain.
Councillor Dorwood.
Counter amendment, please.
Councillor Dryber.
Counter amendment, please.
Councillor Drysdale. No, I did speak to
Abstain,
her.
abstain.
Yeah, abstain.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Ferguson.
Amendment.
Councillor Giusti.
Abstain.
Councillor Hagman.
Amendment, please.
Councillor Hill.
Abstain.
Councillor Howie.
Abstain.
Councillor Hislop.
Abstain.
Councillor Ingalls.
Abstain.
Councillor Jameson.
Amendment.
Councillor Maureen Johnson.
Abstain.
Councillor Jordan.
Counter amendment, please.
Councillor Lowe.
Amendment.
Councillor McCammon. Sorry, Councillor McCammon, can you confirm that?
Sorry, abstain.
Abstain. Councillor McFarlane.
Amendment.
Councillor Mayo.
Amendment.
Councillor Marsh.
Abstain.
Councillor Marshall.
Counter amendment, please.
Councillor Scobie. Councillor Slater.
Amendment.
Councillor Stevenson.
Counter amendment, please.
Councillor Stitt.
Counter amendment, please.
Councillor Thompson.
Amendment.
Councillor Walters.
Counter amendment, please.
Councillor Wilson.
Counter amendment, please.
Councillor Wood.
Abstain.
And Councillor Young.
Amendment.
Okay, as members will see, we have for the amendment 13 and for the counter 8, and therefore the amendment is carried through to the next vote between the amendment and the motion. And we'll just reconfigure the voting sheet. Okay, are all members clear what the motion and the amendment is? Okay, so we'll proceed to the vote. Convener.
Motion.
Deputy Convener.
Motion.
Councillor Bell.
Motion.
Councillor Beretti.
Amendment.
Councillor Blake.
Motion.
Councillor Brodie.
Motion.
Councillor Dougie Campbell.
Amendment.
Councillor John Campbell.
Amendment.
Councillor Ian Carruthers.
Motion.
Councillor Karen Carruthers.
Motion.
Councillor Dashbart.
Amendment.
Councillor Davis.
Motion.
Councillor Dempster.
Motion.
Councillor Denearly.
Motion.
Councillor Dorward,
Abstain, please.
Councillor Drybrat,
Abstain.
Councillor Drysdale,
Motion.
Councillor Ferguson,
Amendment.
Councillor Giusti,
Motion, please.
Councillor Hagman,
Amendment, please.
Councillor Hill,
Motion, please.
Councillor Howie,
Motion.
Councillor Hislop,
Motion.
Councillor Ingalls,
Motion.
Councillor Jameson,
Amendment.
Councillor Maureen Johnson,
Motion.
Councillor Jordan,
Abstain, please.
Councillor Lowe,
Amendment.
Councillor McCammon,
Motion.
Councillor McFarlane,
Amendment.
Councillor Mayo,
Motion.
Councillor Marsh,
Motion.
Councillor Marshall,
Abstain, please.
I believe Councillor Scobie's left the meeting. Councillor Slater,
Motion.
Councillor Stevenson,
Abstain, please.
Councillor Stitt,
Abstain, please.
Councillor Thompson,
Amendment.
Councillor Walters,
Abstain, please.
Councillor Wilson,
Abstain, please.
Councillor Wood,
Motion.
and Councillor Young.
Amendment.
Okay, as members will see from the screen, the motion has 22 votes, amendment 11, and therefore the motion is carried. Yeah, so that you just go through it next. Yeah, there we go. Sorry. So we've done that.
Thank you. Going back to the recommendations, recommendation 2.3, we have made appointments of up to 14 senior councillors in remunerated positions, excluding the leader and civic head. Such appointments to be made in accordance with standing order. Are we happy with that? Yeah, thank you. Now we move on to item 5, appointments to roles and outside bodies, report by the Director of Communities. This report seeks approval for any changes to the appointments to roles and outside bodies by the full Council in accordance with the Council's scheme of representation on outside bodies. Vlad Valenti is available to assist members with any questions on this report. Blank slates detailing roles and appointments were circulated to group leaders prior to today's meeting, and I will ask all groups to provide their slates to our governance colleagues to check and circulate while we take a short recess, 20 minutes. Councillor Thompson.
Yeah, apologies, Chair. I didn't know you were going to go straight to recess there, but obviously, given the changes to the proportionality that we've now agreed from the last item, which were different to the published papers, we'd put forward a sort of outside body slate, as it were, based on proportionality, but obviously that's changed. So I welcome the recess, but I think it's maybe, I'm just wondering if it would be worth assigning group members or sort of political groups to some of the slots, and then we're invited to fill it in, because obviously you can see this going on all day. If there's any further changes to the independent group or whatever. So during the recess, what do we hope to have achieved before coming back, just so I'm clear, because we've already put in a slate, as it were.
The purpose of the recess was basically just to potentially review, if required, from what was submitted already. That was the purpose. But I do think you have a point, so I'll just go to Vlad for a bit of advice on that.
Thank you, Convener. I think it's a valid point in terms of the proportionality and how that potentially affects the outside bodies. The purpose of that recess is that in order to circulate what's been proposed, but if that's going to change based on the previous one, is obviously you'll require more time than we had anticipated, and you won't be able necessarily to do that within 20 minutes. I'm in members' hands as to how they wish to tackle that. One way to do it is to have a longer break to allow us again to circulate it to all members. Members are then, similar to the previous item, able to address any issues in proportionality within their relevant slate. That would then need to be circulated to all members. Another option which is for members to decide upon is whether there are priority parts of your slate that you wish to focus on today, and then all the rest could potentially be dealt with at a later date, allowing members to fully digest. That's just an option for you in terms of moving forward for the outside bodies.
Okay, so Councillor McGregor.
Yeah, I suppose it's just to seek a bit of clarity. It'll only take me a matter of seconds to change our slate to reflect the new proportionality, but the proportionality on committees has obviously changed as well. And I think it'll be very difficult for us to even contemplate any of the service committee today. So my view would be that we should move forward with the main ones that are external to the council, as we did, I think, last May, and allow the service committees to determine as they normally do.
Thank you. Is there anyone else with a Councillor Ferguson?
Have we actually withdrawn delegation from the service committees at this stage?
No, not yet.
Yeah, sorry, at the moment is consideration of the slates, which I don't think all members have seen. So that's before we establish whether there are any. They might not be needed to look at any service committees within those particular slates. So it's more than anything at this point in time, convener, is asking members to propose the slate so that officers can circulate it to all members can consider it, and then members will be clear what the position is, including any issues of delegation that might need to be addressed.
Thank you. So can we have someone proposing a slate, please?
Thank you, convener. Yes, I'm very happy to propose the Conservative group slate, and I will make a slight amendment to it as I'm sitting here and get it circulated in the next minute or two.
Are there any other further slates being proposed? Would somebody like to second? Either
Happy to second, Leader.
Right, thank you. Councillor Thompson.
Thanks, convener. Yeah, so we have submitted a slate to governance officers for circulation, but obviously we'll need to take a moment to amend that in light of the recent decision. Thank you. So, sorry, and so can I move that as an amendment, I should say?
Thank you, and seconded by Councillor Hagman.
Yes, please.
Any further? Councillor Wilson.
Can I move the Labour outside body slate? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Stitt, second. Thank you. So we will take that at 20-minute recess now to have a look at the proposed slates. Thank you. Thank you, members. We've all had a chance to have a look at the three slates presented. So we'll move on. So we've agreed to make amendments to appointments to outside bodies as required, and the slates have been presented. Do we agree to withdraw delegations as appropriate from the relevant committees? Do we agree? Thank you. Well, in that case, we will now just move on to the vote. Vlad, do you want to take us through the process?
Point of order, Chair.
Yes, Councillor Ferguson.
The accepted convention of this council is that the outside bodies with 5 go in proportionality.
I'll go across to Vlad with that because he's already had this discussion.
Thank you, Convener. Yeah, it's ultimately a council decision as to what should be presented for outside bodies and representation of the council. So ultimately, it's a council decision as to how the council wishes to move forward, whether that's on the basis of custom and practice or whether in line with the slates that have been presented.
Are you happy with that, Councillor Ferguson?
Can I come back? So on what grounds then are we changing the custom and practice? I've just asked that before we actually move to a vote.
Vlad?
I don't know if I can answer that because that's not, I haven't proposed the slates, Convener, so it's for each group to ultimately put forward their slate and what they're recommending within that. Ultimately, the council will then agree or disagree with the proposals.
Thank you. Councillor McGregor?
Thank you, Convener and Vlad. I wonder what exactly is being referred to, because if I've made a mistake on this, I'm happy to own up to that, but I thought we had worked on the basis of proportionality, and that unfortunately some of these bodies only have spaces for 5, not 6.
Councillor Ferguson?
So thanks, Convener, for letting me in. That's exactly my point, Gail, is if it's done in proportionality, the way it's been set out isn't competent, because we agreed that earlier today, that committees of 5 would be proportional.
Yeah, come in, Vlad, thank you.
Thank you, Convener. Just to clarify, the proportionality that was agreed was purely for committees. That was a previous item. This item's in the outside bodies, and we haven't agreed a specific proportionality for outside bodies within this meeting. Ultimately, it's for members to decide what the proposals are and how to take that forward, and I can't interfere with that. So ultimately, the council will decide what that proportionality should be by a decision on the various proposals that have been put forward.
So am I correct in saying that it's up to us today to vote on the basis of these slates and as it's laid out? So unless we wish to change it. Councillor Ferguson?
Just the Conservative Party consistently for the last 10 years have been talking about proportionality, and now of course it's now suiting them, so they're not doing it. So be it.
Thank you. So shall we proceed to the vote? Vlad, do you want to go through the process?
Yeah. Thank you, Convener. Just to confirm, we have a motion, an amendment, a counter amendment. The motion the motion which was proposed by Councillor McGregor and seconded by Councillor Hislop is in regards to their particular slate. The amendment from Councillor Thompson and thereafter seconded by Councillor Hagman is for the SNP slate. And lastly, we've got a counter amendment which was proposed by Councillor Wilson and seconded by Councillor Stitt with their particular slate. Is everyone clear what the motion, amendment and counter amendments are? Okay, so we proceed to the first vote, which will be between the counter amendment and the amendment, or vice versa. So we'll start with the amendment and then thereafter counter amendment. So just through the process of the roll again. Convener?
Abstain.
Deputy Convener?
Abstain.
Councillor Bell?
Abstain.
Councillor Beretti?
Amendment.
Councillor Blake,
Abstain.
Councillor Brodie,
Abstain.
Councillor Doogie Campbell,
Amendment.
Councillor John Campbell,
Amendment.
Councillor Ian Carruthers,
Abstain.
Councillor Karen Carruthers,
Abstain.
Councillor Dashbar,
Amendment.
Councillor Davis,
Abstain.
Councillor Dempster,
Abstain.
Councillor Denearly,
Abstain.
Councillor Dorward,
Counter amendment, please.
Councillor Dryburgh,
Counter amendment, please.
Councillor Drysdale,
Abstain, please.
Councillor Ferguson,
Amendment.
Councillor Giusti,
Abstain.
Councillor Hagman,
Amendment, please.
Councillor Hill,
Abstain, please.
Councillor Howie,
Abstain.
Councillor Hislop,
Abstain.
Councillor Ingalls,
Abstain.
Councillor Jameson,
Amendment.
okay, scroll down, Fraser, for me. Councillor Maureen Johnson,
Abstain.
Councillor Jordan,
Counter amendment, please.
Councillor Lowe,
Amendment.
Councillor McCammon,
I think she's voted in the chat, lad. Abstain.
abstain, okay, abstain. Councillor McFarlane,
Amendment.
Councillor Mayo,
Amendment.
Councillor Marsh,
Abstain.
Councillor Marshall,
Counter amendment, please.
Councillor Slater,
Amendment.
Councillor Stevenson,
Counter amendment, please.
Councillor Stitt,
Counter amendment, please.
Councillor Thompson,
Amendment.
Councillor Walters,
Counter amendment.
Councillor Wilson,
Counter amendment, please.
Councillor Wood, Councillor Wood, okay, doesn't look like Councillor Wood's in the meeting. Councillor Young,
Amendment.
okay, as members will see, we have 13 votes for the amendment, 8 for the counter, and therefore the amendment is carried through to the next vote against the motion. Okay. Okay, we're now moving on to the vote on the motion v the amendment. Convener, motion or amendment?
Motion.
Deputy Convener,
Motion.
Councillor Bell,
Motion.
Councillor Beretti,
Amendment.
Councillor Blake,
Motion.
Councillor Brodie,
Motion.
Councillor Doogie Campbell,
Amendment.
Councillor John Campbell,
Amendment.
Councillor Ian Carruthers,
Motion.
Councillor Karen Carruthers,
Motion.
Councillor Dashbar,
Amendment.
Councillor Davis,
Motion.
Councillor Dempster,
Motion.
Councillor Denearly,
Motion.
Councillor Dorward,
Abstain, please.
Councillor Dryburgh,
Abstain.
Councillor Drysdale,
Motion, please.
Councillor Ferguson,
Amendment.
Councillor Giusti,
Motion.
Councillor Hagman,
Amendment, please.
Councillor Hill,
Motion, please.
Councillor Howie,
Abstain.
Councillor Hislop,
Motion.
Councillor Ingalls,
Motion.
Councillor Jameson,
Amendment.
Councillor Maureen Johnson,
Motion.
Councillor Jordan,
Abstain, please.
Councillor Lowe,
Amendment.
Councillor McCammon, Councillor McFarlane.
Amendment.
I'll come back to Councillor McCammon. If you're able to put it on the chat, we'll take that vote before the end. Councillor McFarlane, sorry, Councillor Mayo.
Motion.
Councillor Marsh.
Motion.
Councillor Marshall.
Abstain, please.
Councillor Scobie, not here, apologies. Councillor Slater.
Motion.
Councillor Stevenson.
Abstain.
Councillor Stitt.
Abstain, please.
Councillor Thompson.
Amendment.
Councillor Walters.
Abstain, please.
Councillor Wilson.
Abstain, please.
Councillor Wood. Okay. Councillor Young.
Amendment.
Okay. If I could ask whether Councillor Wood or Councillor McCammon are in the meeting. Doesn't look like they are. Okay. Members, that's the end of the vote, and therefore we have 19 votes for the motion, 11 for the amendment, and therefore the motion's carried.
Thank you, Vlad. We now move on to item 6, any other business deemed urgent by the Chair due to the need for a decision. I have no items of urgent business, and that therefore concludes our business for today. Thank you all for your contributions, and thank you for your patience in this today. Thank you.